Good day, everyone. Welcome to week 10. Before we begin, I would like to remind you about our Zoom sessions that begin this week. So after you watch this lecture video, please be prepared to join the Zoom session. If you have a morning class, our Zoom session will start at 11 a.m. And if you have an afternoon class, it will begin at 4 p.m. Don't forget that the Zoom session is used to count your attendance points. If you do not come to the Zoom session, you will not get an attendance point this week. That means if you already have 4 absences, you are in danger of failing the course and you cannot miss the Zoom session or any Zoom session in the future. If you are 5 minutes late to the Zoom session, you are considered absent. So please register to the Zoom meeting early and on time. You must send a message in the Zoom chat right away. That way you can record the time that you entered the Zoom chat, and I will save the chat history to keep a documentation of your arrival in the Zoom session. If you arrive to the Zoom session on time but you don't send a message, then I'm sorry, but I cannot consider your attendance. You will be considered absent. So please remember, you must write a message as soon as you enter the classroom. Finally, you can also log in 5 minutes early. I will open each Zoom session 5 minutes early, so you will have plenty of time to log into the class. And remember, our Zoom session today will review grammar from last week. Okay, so now that we remember about our Zoom session, let's start the lecture. Today we're going to begin the final unit of the semester, Unit 4. And this unit is focused on water, a thirsty world. What is clean water? How can we keep our water safe? And how can we distribute water to people who need it? Let's first review the grammar point that was in 3B. I know it was a long time ago, so maybe we need to refresh our memory. In that lesson, we learned about adjectives. Adjectives that end with ed and adjectives that end with ing. We use these adjectives to describe emotions, but ed adjectives such as scared reflect how we feel, and ing adjectives such as exciting or confusing show that something is creating an emotion. So let's just quickly review some examples of ed and ing adjectives. I was really interested. Imagine you went to see a movie in a cinema, and when you looked around, everyone was very interested in the movie. They wanted to know what happens next. If we say the book was interesting, then the book is creating a feeling of interest, right? A book cannot feel an emotion, but it can make us feel an emotion. I was excited to meet him. Meeting him was exciting. I'm so stressed at my job. My job is so stressful. Here we have an exception. This is an irregular adjective that doesn't use ing. For these adjectives, we simply need to memorize the different examples of these adjectives. Stressful, scary, etc. Now let's look at these two pictures and try to make a sentence. Who is feeling an emotion? Who is creating an emotion? Take out your notebook, or you can practice by saying the sentence out loud. He is, the baby is. So who is feeling? That's right. This man is feeling. How does he feel? If something is very, you're not mad, but you are annoyed. Very good. He is annoyed. The baby is, very good, annoying. Let's look at another one. Ah! Okay. The boy is, the snake is. So for the boy, there are two words that mean the same thing. The boy is scared. How about another one? A synonym. The boy is frightened. How about the snake? The snake is scaring? That's not right. The snake is scary. Okay, so scary is an irregular adjective. How about the synonym? Frighten. The snake is frightening. Very good. We'll do one last example and then we'll move on to the new topic today. We have two friends who are going out to dinner, but Tina is and Joyce is. How does Joyce feel? Joyce is bored. And Tina, is she very interesting? No, Tina is boring. Okay, very good. Now today we're going to start with 10 new vocabulary words. Please listen and repeat. Collect, manage, clean, require, enough, amount, available, flow, resource, provide. Very good. So, 10 words that are related to healthy water and our need to provide healthy water to people around the world. Now let's take a look at our vocabulary words with a picture. And this picture will help you understand the meaning of the word. After we look at images of the picture of the words, you're going to start your written exercises in your book. Maybe you did this when you were a child, and there are many things that could be here. Marbles, erasers, maybe little toys. This word is collect. I collect marbles. Here we have a computer, and many people are here. Manage. So, now we are taking classes online. Maybe this is your professor, and these are the students in her class. The professor manages her students online. Ooh, don't take a bath in this bathtub. It's not very clean. This one's not clean. This one is very clean. Next. Oh no, my phone has no battery. I require a charger. Do you drink enough water every day? Doctors say that we should drink 2 liters of water every day. That amount seems very high, don't you think? But it's amazing how good water can make you feel. If you go to the store and you want to buy something, you might ask if it is in stock or available. Is this dress available in a different size? Next. The water flows down the river. Vegetation, animals, soil, minerals, and water. These are examples of resources. You might also hear this word pronounced resource or resources. Both of these pronunciations are correct. Here we can see a volunteer program. He is here to provide food to these people. Okay, now let's look in your textbook. First, we have some sentences that use the vocabulary words in context. After you read each vocabulary word, we're going to match the vocabulary with the definition. After we match the definition, we're going to, oops, I showed you an answer. So after we match the definitions, we're going to check the answers together. Okay, take a moment to complete your textbook exercise. Let's check your answers. So I accidentally showed you the first one. To collect means to bring together. So sometimes collecting means that we want to keep it. We want to keep many of the same thing. But we can also use collect as just a general verb. So for example, the elementary school teacher will collect her students before they go to eat lunch. She's bringing the students together. Number 2, J, to use carefully. Clean, free from dirt. Require, to need something. Enough, sufficient. Amount, how much there is of something. Available, able to be used or found. Flow, move slowly without stopping. Resource or resource, materials people can use. And provide, to give something that people need. Okay, very good. Hopefully you got all of these answers correct. But if you didn't, that's okay. We're going to practice our vocabulary and learn it over time. Next in your textbook, we have a fill-in-the-blank activity. Please take a moment to read all of the sentences and fill in the blanks using the 10 vocabulary words we just learned. When you come back, we'll check your answers. Let's check your answers. Number 1, the Amazon River flows into the Atlantic Ocean. Actually, we also use the word flow to talk about rap music. So if they have a very long section where they're talking smoothly, we call that a flow. Okay, number 2, some plants require a lot of water. You have to water them twice a day. 3, water is a valuable resource. We should be careful how we use it. 4, we put a box in the cafeteria to collect plastic water bottles for recycling. 5, the water in my city is not very clean, so we have to drink bottled water. 6, many rivers provide electricity and clean drinking water for the people who live near them. 7, the amount of clean water on Earth is decreasing, so we need to find ways to conserve it. 8, I don't think this city should manage how much water we use. I think we should decide. 9, if we use too much of the Earth's water supply now, we won't have enough in the future. 10, clean water isn't available to many people in their homes, so they have to go to other places to get it. Very good. Now let's think about our situation now in South Korea. Do you think the water in South Korea is clean? Do people have access to clean water? How much water do you use every day? So, since we're not in our groups right now, you can use your notebook to brainstorm responses to these questions. Number 1. Does Korea have trouble providing clean water to everyone? So, in South Korea, we have public clean water, right? Water that comes into our homes that we use to water our garden and our farms. But does everyone have equal access to this water? Number 2, do you think tap water is clean and safe to drink? Put your hands up if you drink bottled water. Now put your hands up if you drink water from the tap. That means from your bathroom or kitchen sink. How many of you use a filter to drink tap water? Maybe a pitcher with a filter or a filter tap. Okay, think about your water choices. Next, what are some things that you collect? It can be anything, like a baseball card, toys, or pens. For example, I collect dice. I like to play board games, and especially role-playing board games, they have these special dice called D20 dice, and I love to collect all the different colors and all the different shapes. So maybe there's something that you like to collect as well. So here are 3 dice from my collection. Yeah, so what are some things that you collect? Next, what do you require when you wake up in the morning? Maybe you're like me and you really need coffee in the morning. If I don't have coffee, I just can't start my day. I go right back to sleep. So what do you require in the morning? Coffee, food, exercise, water, a shower? It could be many different things. And finally, do you drink enough water every day? Remember, doctors recommend 2 liters of water. So, do you drink 2 liters of water every day? And if you do, I'm really proud of you. That's really difficult and it's very healthy for you to do. Okay, next we're going to listen to a guest speaker in our listening audio. Take a look at this photo. Do you recognize this landmark? Do you know what this kind of construction is called? This is a dam. Specifically, it is the Three Gorges Dam in China. A dam is this big wall that we build to block water. Sometimes we use dams to create electricity. So we can see how big this dam is. Before we begin the audio, let's see how much you know about the Yangtze River in China. Which of these facts do you think are true? The Yangtze River in China is the longest river in Asia, is the 3rd longest river in the world, has been used by people for more than 27,000 years, and it floods or its valleys flood every year. What do you think? Actually, these are all true. So, the Yangtze River is a very important river in China, and we're going to learn about how they use it and how it has affected the health of the ecosystem, primarily the water life, water wildlife in the area. So let's prepare our mind before the listening. You're going to hear some numbers. Let's practice reading these large numbers together. 410, 607. 26,000. So when you see 3 zeros, we just look at the first number, 26, then we add the word thousand. 26,000. Same. 300,000. 300,000. 5 times and 1 million. Okay, and a million has 6 zeros. So here we have 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Million has 6 zeros. Okay, so think of these numbers. We're going to listen to the audio, and when we come back, we're going to check what each number was referring to.
Lesson A. Developing listening skills. Listening. A guest speaker. A. Listening for main ideas. Page 66.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to be here today. I'm Dr. Paul Benjamin. I'm an engineer, and I'm here to talk to you about the Three Gorges Dam in China. As you probably already know, China's Three Gorges Dam is one of the world's largest dams. It's 1.4 miles long and 607 feet tall. That's 5 times larger than the Hoover Dam in the United States. The dam's reservoir is 410 miles long. It's huge. So as you can imagine, an engineering project of this size requires a lot of workers, and a lot of workers were involved in the building of the Three Gorges Dam. At one time, more than 26,000 Chinese workers and foreigners were working together to build the dam. Okay, so why was the Three Gorges Dam built? Why was it constructed? Well, it was constructed in order to provide a renewable source of energy for China's increasing demand for electricity. That's one reason. It was also built to help control the water in the Yangtze River. The water from this river is a valuable resource, but if it's not managed well, it can be very dangerous. Chinese authorities estimate that in the 20th century, about 300,000 people were killed in the Yangtze River floods. Protecting people's lives is a priority, and the dam was designed to protect people by controlling the river and preventing future floods. Okay, now another reason the dam was built was to help China's economy. Because the dam makes the water in the Yangtze River deeper, larger ships can travel farther up the river. This means more trade, so more money, a better economy. So we can see that building an enormous dam like this can provide important benefits. But at the same time, there are risks, potential problems. For example, the Three Gorges Dam will put a lot of land underwater. Many towns and villages will probably disappear. Over 1 million people have already lost their land and have had to leave the region to find new homes. The dam will also put many very old historical and cultural sites underwater, which is very unfortunate because China has such an interesting history. In addition, a huge engineering project like the Three Gorges Dam can have a significant impact on the environment. For example, factories flooded by the dam's reservoir are polluting the river, making the water very dirty and unsafe. Also, the dam can cause an increase in erosion or the gradual destruction of soil and rock near the river. Earthquakes are another concern in this area. An earthquake that occurs near a dam that controls so much water could be extremely dangerous. Okay, so in conclusion, the Three Gorges Dam is one of the world's largest dams. It was built in order to provide some important benefits to the people of China. But as we can also see, there are some significant risks to building a dam this large. The main thing is to understand that there are both benefits and risks to this kind of enormous engineering project. Well, it looks like we are just about out of time. So again, thank you all very much for coming today. Now, are there any questions?
Now let's check the meaning of each number. We'll start with the first number, 410. Do you remember what it was about? 410 is the length of the dam's reservoir. It's 410 miles long. It's huge! Now I want to say one thing about large numbers. You might hear someone say 410, and someone else might say 410. These are both very common ways to say the number, and especially in America, they say the word and. 410. 410. They are both correct in casual conversation. Our next number, 26,000. This is the number of workers at one time. At one time, more than 26,000 Chinese workers and foreigners were working together to build the dam. That's how big of a project this dam was. Next, 1 million. 1 million people lost their land. Over 1 million people have already lost their land and have had to leave the region to find new homes. Of course, when we block a river, the water begins to move into new areas. And when this happens, the land is destroyed. It is covered in water, and people who live there must move away. 607. The height of the Three Gorges Dam. China's Three Gorges Dam is one of the world's largest dams. It's 4.1 miles long, and 607 feet tall. Next, 300,000. These were the people killed in the Yangtze River floods. Chinese authorities estimate that in the 20th century, about 300,000 people were killed in the Yangtze River floods. Next, our last number, 5 times. This is the size of this dam compared to the Hoover Dam. When the Hoover Dam was first made in America, it was the largest dam in the world, and people were very impressed by that dam. Now, this Three Gorges Dam is 5 times larger than the Hoover Dam in the United States. So it is a huge dam. All right, now let's move on in your textbook. We have a fill in the blank, and we really need to listen to the details to complete this exercise. Let's listen to the audio again, and when you finish, we'll check your answers.
Lesson A. Developing listening skills. Listening. A guest speaker. A. Listening for main ideas. Page 66.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to be here today. I'm Dr. Paul Benjamin. I'm an engineer, and I'm here to talk to you about the Three Gorges Dam in China. As you probably already know, China's Three Gorges Dam is one of the world's largest dams. It's 1.4 miles long and 607 feet tall. That's 5 times larger than the Hoover Dam in the United States. The dam's reservoir is 410 miles long. It's huge. So as you can imagine, an engineering project of this size requires a lot of workers, and a lot of workers were involved in the building of the Three Gorges Dam. At one time, more than 26,000 Chinese workers and foreigners were working together to build the dam. Okay, So, why was the Three Gorges Dam built? Why was it constructed? Well, it was constructed in order to provide a renewable source of energy for China's increasing demand for electricity. That's one reason. It was also built to help control the water in the Yangtze River. The water from this river is a valuable resource, but if it's not managed well, it can be very dangerous. Chinese authorities estimate that in the 20th century, about 300,000 people were killed in the Yangtze River floods. Protecting people's lives is a priority, and the dam was designed to protect people by controlling the river and preventing future floods. Okay, now another reason the dam was built was to help China's economy. Because the dam makes the water in the Yangtze River deeper, larger ships can travel farther up the river. This means more trade, so more money, a better economy. So we can see that building an enormous dam like this can provide important benefits. But at the same time, there are risks, potential problems. For example, the Three Gorges Dam will put a lot of land underwater. Many towns and villages will probably disappear. Over 1 million people have already lost their land and have had to leave the region to find new homes. The dam will also put many very old historical and cultural sites underwater, which is very unfortunate because China has such an interesting history. In addition, a huge engineering project like the Three Gorges Dam can have a significant impact on the environment. For example, factories flooded by the dam's reservoir are polluting the river, making the water very dirty and unsafe. Also, the dam can cause an increase in erosion or the gradual destruction of soil and rock near the river. Earthquakes are another concern in this area. An earthquake that occurs near a dam that controls so much water could be extremely dangerous. Okay, so in conclusion, the Three Gorges Dam is one of the world's largest dams. It was built in order to provide some important benefits to the people of China. But as we can also see, there are some significant risks to building a dam this large. The main thing is to understand that there are both benefits and risks to this kind of enormous engineering project. Well, it looks like we are just about out of time. So again, thank you all very much for coming today. Now, are there any questions?
Let's check your answers. The size of the Three Gorges Dam. It's 1.4 miles long and 607 feet tall. The reservoir is 410 miles long. That's a huge reservoir. There are more than 26,000 workers at the time when they were building this dam. Some of the benefits of building the dam: it provides a renewable source of energy. It controls floods on the river. In the 20th century, 300,000 people were killed. It makes the river deeper, so larger ships can travel further up the river. But what are the risks? One, it will put a lot of land underwater. Two, many towns and villages will probably disappear. Next, over 1 million people have already lost their homes. Many very old historical and cultural sites will be underwater, and there is a significant impact on the environment. In conclusion, it's one of the world's largest dams. It was built in order to provide important benefits, and there are also some significant risks. Please check your answers. Hopefully you got them correct. Now let's talk about today's grammar point. Today's grammar point is the active and passive voice, and we're going to focus on the passive voice. Take a look at this picture. What happened to these two people? We can think of these two characters as the active and passive voices. The active voice performs the action. This is pretty typical of most sentences that we use. For example, he killed this man. John killed Michael. I went to Busan. She studied a book. This is an active voice sentence. The subject of the sentence, John, is the one who performed the action. If we look at the victim, we can see the passive voice. The passive voice shows that something happened to a person. They are the person who experiences the action. We can also use the passive voice to talk about an object, because an object cannot do an action, right? So, for example, Michael by John. Do you know how to complete this sentence? Very good. Michael was killed by John. So Michael is not killing. He experiences the killing. We can use this sentence to describe where something was made. For example, my Samsung phone was made in Korea. Romeo and Juliet was written by Shakespeare. We're describing an action that happened to the subject. And when we use the passive voice like this, it changes the emphasis of the sentence. So let's take a look at the passive voice. When we use passive voice, we change the emphasis to focus on the action, not the person who is doing the action. So, students are taught. The present was given to me. The problem was fixed. My dog was killed. We can use a by phrase to describe who or what did the action. Students are taught by Kaylee. The present was given to me by my boyfriend. The problem was fixed by him. My dog was killed by a snake. Now we're adding more detail to describe the scene, right? So we have the passive voice by this person. Okay, so how can we construct the passive voice? Maybe you've started to notice the pattern. First, we're going to use the active voice object as the subject. So, in other words, let's look at our active sentence. John killed Michael. Michael is the object of this verb, killed. John killed what? John killed who? He killed Michael. Now we take this object and we make it the subject of the passive voice. Michael was killed by John. So we're going to flip the subject and the object to make a passive voice. Then we add the be verb and the next verb. Andrea teaches students, right? Andrea, students. Flip it. Students are taught by Andrea. He cleaned the house. He, the house. Flip. The house was cleaned by him. Notice how the verb tense stays the same. In the first example, Andrea teaches students. We are using the present simple tense. The passive voice is also present simple tense. Andrea teaches students. Students are taught. In the second example, we are using the past simple tense. He cleaned the house. The house was cleaned. So the be verb matches the verb tense. And here we have the past participle. She broke my iPad. She, iPad. Flip. My iPad was broken by her. And when we use this sentence, by Andrea, by him, by her, this is usually an optional part of the sentence. Tom answered, it was answered. They agreed, it was agreed. So here when the object is not clear, Tom answered who? We don't know. We can just put the word it. It is a good word to describe anything. Okay, so now look in your textbook. We have some sentences that are written in the active voice, and we need to change them to the passive voice. Let's look at the first example sentence. Children in many countries play soccer. So, children play what? The object is soccer. Children, soccer, we're going to flip the sentence. Soccer is played by children in many countries. When we have an extra little phrase like this, in many countries, we can usually put that at the end of the sentence. So after you write your answer, try reading it out loud and see if it feels natural. We're going to write all of our answers, and when you come back, we'll check them together. Now let's check your answers. My sister made this. My sister, this. Flip the sentence. This was made by my sister. Number 3. Over 1 billion people speak Chinese. Over 1 billion people, Chinese, flip. Chinese is spoken by over 1 billion people. Number 4. The teacher asked Isabel to give a presentation. Here, the object of the verb asked is Isabel. Isabel was asked by the teacher to give a presentation. We can also put it at the end. Isabel was asked to give a presentation by the teacher. So these are both grammatically correct, but the first version sounds a little more clear for a native speaker. 5. Oscar baked this delicious cake. This delicious cake was baked by Oscar. A friendly man owns that restaurant. That restaurant is owned by a friendly man. Okay, and make sure that you matched the verb tense. Okay, past tense with past tense, present tense with present tense, and even future tense can be used with passive voice. Passive voice can be used with any verb tense. Okay. Now we're going to make some sentences by ourselves. Here you will need your notebook. You can see a chart. We have many different subjects, some verbs, and then some extra details. We can make a sentence by connecting them together, and there are many different answers that can be made. In your notebook, try to make 5 different sentences. So for example, kimchi is eaten in South Korea. Or you can match something else. Roses are grown where? So take a moment to write 5 sentences. If you don't know the past participle of these verbs, you can always look it up online. It is a little difficult, but you just need to memorize the different participles. Okay, so go ahead, write your sentences in your notebook. Now, I'm going to show you a trick to check if a sentence is passive or active. The best way to check if a sentence is passive or active is to add the sentence by zombies. If it makes sense, it's passive. If it doesn't, it's active. Let's try with this sentence. The dishes are washed by zombies. This is a passive voice. The students learn English by zombies. Doesn't really match. It's an active voice. How about this one? The money was stolen by zombies. Very good. It's a passive voice. Your turn. My family watches TV by zombies. Active. Very good. We sometimes play soccer by zombies. It's active. Pretty dresses are worn by zombies. Yes, it is a passive voice sentence. Yesterday, brains were eaten by zombies. Yes, passive. He loves cheese pizza by zombies. No, it is active. I draw a lot of pictures by zombies. It is active. The dog ate the cat by zombies. It is an active sentence. My mom is cooking food by zombies. No, it is an active sentence. This week's participation work is a grammar practice activity on Class Marker. Please complete this assignment so that next week we can review it in our Zoom session. In summary, in today's lecture, we 1. Watched our video lecture, 2. We have a participation activity which is on Class Marker, and we have 1 week to complete this assignment. And then later today, we're going to have a Zoom session to review last week's grammar and content. And we're going to use this Zoom session to take today's attendance. Okay, so hopefully you finished this video on time to log into our Zoom session, which will begin soon. I'll see you all there. Take care.